Welcome back to the Book Bros. I'm one of your Book Bros. My name is Stefan. Today we're going to be talking about The Evolution of the Goblin to the Peak, written by Don L. For a quick synopsis of this novel takes place in a world called Battle World. It was a VR MMO RPG that existed into the future. There's a full dive system. Our main character, Sota, is isekai, are essentially reborn into this world, into the body of a goblin specifically. So my thoughts for this novel, I really enjoyed the direction this novel is going, especially with him not remembering even his human life and just knowing the in-game character that he was while playing in this game. It makes it very interesting, dynamic of him trying to get these memories, because he knew that he was human at one point, and trying to get these memories of what his human life was, and how he lived, and his actual name, and everything that's going on. And just, he realizes at a point that his intelligence stat needs to be higher to be able to get these memories back, because his mind goes onto a higher level essentially. So with following him in the first 100 chapters about an idea of what he wants to do, him getting stronger, and him going to essentially one of the best schools in one of these huge kingdoms that exist in this world, it's just awesome to see the direction. And he's not one of those pansy main characters where he does start off weak, but he's way more cold-blooded and way more just out for don't screw with me, don't F me, I will murder you, and I'm okay with that. He doesn't have that weird humanity sense. He treats it as a game still, essentially, in the first 100 chapters. So him killing things is just him killing another NPC. It's just him killing ones and zeros in a game. So the cold-bloodedness that he has towards other characters and towards his enemies, and what he perceives as friendship essentially, is this a little out there. You would call it essentially a crazy man, the way that he interacts with people, but it makes for a very interesting story when he's that ruthless and he doesn't have that humanity, and that he's trying to hide that he's actually a goblin because prejudice. It's really interesting to see that growth and to see that going through the first 100 chapters where he slowly starts to change, but not to the point where he's acts like human at all, essentially. So when I'm going to be rating this novel, it's okay. For plot especially, I really like the ruthless type main characters, where it's not so much ruthless to everybody, but it's more just the actual thought process of someone would have against an enemy. Where I read a bunch of novels where they're really naive, where they're no, I won't kill an enemy, but I beat him, so it won't come and bite me in the ass. Where in reality, it's gonna come and bite you in the ass because you let him go. Where this character's oh, that guy saw this, or that guy saw this, and if I let him go, worse things are going to come to me, and he's going to get backup from these other people, or the people that, these nobles show up. They're oh, I want this thing, but he's no, I want that thing. And so when he takes the thing, the nobles go after him, and if he leaves those nobles alive, they're just going to get more powerful people backing them to come and take what it is, so he kills them. He just murderizes them, makes sure that there's no loose ends. He just kills them. When you're looking at a character, that is what I like to see for a plot. You're not pansying around. This is real. It's that's what real people would do. That's what I would probably do. It would be hard, but I guess probably what I would do. So the plot, 5 out of 5. I love the plot of this book. There's 230 chapters at time of filming, and I hope there's more that comes out. For the subplots, there's some subplots that are going on in the first 100 chapters. It's really interesting. There's not a lot. It doesn't really touch on too many, but they're definitely there. So I'd say about a 3 out of 5. The some plots aren't that interesting. At least in the first 100 chapters, some plots they're just there. I'm expecting them to be flushed out later, or them being tied into the main plot somehow, but it isn't there yet for some of these subplots. So that's what I'm going to be rating at 4 out of 5. They're not really that interesting in my opinion. Character and character development. You can see the character development, especially in the main character, especially when he gets some of his memories back when he was human. He starts not acting differently, but you can see the slight humanity back into him and what he has to do. But most of the time he's trying to get powerful enough so the things that happened in game, when they appear when he's actually living there in real life, like when he gets transferred there, that he can survive those situations. And with him being so cold-blooded and ruthless, and him growing to accept the people around him, it's really cool just to see that slight character growth. There hasn't been too much. He's a very cold-blooded person. Like, he doesn't really accept people as friends. They're more like acquaintances, but those people think that they're his friend, so it's quite funny. But seeing him grow, even just that little bit, being like, yes, I care about these people, when before he's like, no, they're just like expendable, whatever. It's like if they die, they die. But like at certain points, he gets to the point where he's like, yes, I care about these characters, I care about these people, and I want them to be around. Like, they're my people now, so I protect them. And he gets super ruthless, especially around chapter 100. Like, straight up just murders people. It's really fun to see. So character development, about a 4 out of 5. There isn't too much, but there's enough that I'm just like, that's awesome to see. The writing and editing translation, this one is pretty good. There's not a lot of grammatical errors. I haven't seen any grammatical errors. Maybe small ones with the pronouns being switched again with the he and she, which is common sometimes, but not too many. So about 4 out of 5. There's little bit ones here and there. It's not absolutely perfect, but it's great writing. For foreshadowing and plot holes, there are some foreshadowing. He obviously talks about the different points when he was playing in the game, because he gets flung back to at the very beginning of the game, essentially 1.0, and like the updates that happen. So he knows what's going to happen, and that's the reason why he's getting so strong. But obviously those are very shoved in your face. You know this is going to happen. You realize this is going to happen. It's not a surprise to you, or like it's not little small snippets of foreshadowing what's happening. So for the foreshadowing, it's a 3 out of 5. They're there. They throw you like, yeah, this is going to happen, obviously. So it's not too exciting like some foreshadowing can be when you get small snippets and then it's there and you're like, oh shit, there it is. But the whole thing, there's all these foreshadowings. It isn't there. It's just very straightforward foreshadowing that you're like, yeah, okay, this is going to happen, because the main character just says it. There's no plot holes as far as I understand. He's just too weak. I think what would be the plot holes is that he's too weak, so he doesn't do it. And I guess if you really want to consider, sometimes his ruthlessness can be a plot hole, just because it's like they don't do it, or like because he's ruthless but he does this instead. You're like, that's weird. It's like weird character switch. Other than that, I would say about 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5. There's not too many. I think there's a couple, but like I can't. They're not, right at the top of my head, I don't think there's really big ones. It would be like small ones that didn't take me out enough, really like stand out. So yeah, about 4 out of 5 for like 0 plot holes or anything like that. But the overall rating for this novel, definitely a 4 out of 5. I really like the way that this novel is going. Just the way that it's way more adult focused, that it's not really meant for kids. So with it being way more mature than some of these novels that I read, it's really enjoyable to read these kinds of novels, because I am an adult. Obviously I'm 26, so being able to read an adult novel, an adult isekai, is really, really fun to read, as most isekais are kind of childish. So it's fantastic. For the age range, I would say older, 16, 17 up. It's definitely, there's some 18 settings, right? He has a goblin, and when he evolves, the goblins have like a weird lust type thing. So he does go to like the red light district and stuff like that. And sometimes he gets graphic for other ways, and like he is a very brutal, like cold-hearted person. So he kills a lot, and that gets him graphic sometimes. So I would assume that this is way more of an adult novel than it is for like young teens at all. So if you like those kind of novels, pick it up. I love this kind of novel. Yeah. Thank you for watching. If you like this kind of stuff, like and comment, subscribe. Write down in the comments if there's any web novels that you want me to read or look at. There have to be 100 chapters for me to do it, because that's the range that I like giving them. So yeah, stick around. Thanks for watching. Our main character, Sota, is essentially isekai'd back into a like blah 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 blah. I want to suck the blood.